Hey, everyone. Welcome on to Branded. Brand new episode this week. And I really wanted to kind of dive into a little bit of the psyche behind doing business. So, if you're new to this podcast, we go behind the scenes and beyond the brand every single week with a new episode. And sometimes we're learning something, sometimes we're being inspired, but there's always some sort of takeaway to be had. And I absolutely love doing this. And so, I hope that you guys enjoy seeing these episodes every week. So, this week, I took a little inspiration. I started reading a book recently, and it's been a little while since I have picked up a book and read it. I've just been so busy, and it's been one of those things that I just haven't given myself time to get back to. And it really, really does fuel me. It is one of the things that will help my creativity. It will help with my anxiety and stress levels. Like reading a couple pages out of a book every single day is a fantastic reset for like my brain and for my energy. And so the book that I've been reading recently is called The Abundance Project. There are so many golden nuggets throughout this entire book. And a concept that I came across recently when I was reading the other morning was this concept of like the acorn and how the acorn will inevitably become the oak. Always. It always will, right? That is its destiny, essentially. And so trying to be the very best acorn is not really the point. The point is allowing all of those moments of transformation that happen while being an acorn and inevitably just cracking wide open and almost feeling like you've come to a point of destruction, but it actually has created something entirely brand new that always lived inside, which was the oak tree. And I was thinking about this, like, this is exactly how growing my business has kind of felt because it doesn't always feel big and grand and strong. It just doesn't, especially in the beginning when there's a little bit of uncertainty and you're still trying to seek some of that clarity and you're going through these moments of just it's a little bit muddy, right? And that's okay. And it's also really okay to feel that breaking point, to feel like you are just being cracked wide open. And instead of viewing it as like, holy shit, I'm just imploding and everything I've worked for is falling to pieces, it really isn't. It really is just morphing into what it was always growing into, right? And we just don't recognize it. It's a new level, it's a new phase, it's a new vibration and frequency that isn't recognizable to us. And so, of course, your first instinct is to shy away from it, to avoid it at all costs, right? But what if we just leaned in? What if all of these different moments that we experience, even the ones that we're just not expecting, what if we just leaned in and approached it with curiosity rather than judgment and gave it a chance to just sort of grow into something? And maybe sometimes it won't. And I never ever see that as time lost because now I know what not to do. Now I know what I don't like, right? It all becomes part of the journey. And they're just, when I read that, how it's like the acorn can try to be the best acorn in the forest, but it will always become the oak. So embrace the becoming, right? Because the becoming is like, it is the entire journey. I have a tattoo on my side from, oh my gosh, like 15 years ago, before I really even had the awareness and sort of self enlightenment that I have now. I got this tattoo when Adam and I decided we were going to go live in Ecuador for 3 months. And I just felt really, really pulled to start appreciating life in a different way. And this trip that we were taking was also right after his dad had passed away. And so that was one of the biggest like shifts that I had had in my adult life. Like I had lost grandparents prior to that, but these were, grandparents I only saw once a year and things of that nature. So to be so close with somebody that was losing somebody so close to them, it just was like this transformative thing. And I started thinking about life more and more. And this quote of value the journey, not the destination, was something that was like just implanted into my mind and I couldn't let it go. And I ended up getting it tattooed on my side. But I did it in Portuguese just because I figured we were actually going to go to Brazil before we decided Ecuador. And so that's why I got it in Portuguese, just as like a little memento of us making that choice to travel the world. But now I think back to it and it's this kaleidoscope that I have these words, value the journey, not the destination. And I think about that all the time. And I think back to like who I was as a 20-year-old when I decided to get that tattoo and how I didn't actually really embrace all facets of what that really means. And I find it so incredibly fascinating that I come across that same concept again and again and again throughout my life. And it just helps bring me back to center and really remind me of like, it really is the everyday things. It's the little choices, it's the little moments that you can decide to lean in, be curious, and embrace what's happening, or you can try to resist. And every single time, resistance will create more work. Resistance will create more stress. Let it flow, let it be, become the oak, right? It's already happening. Even if you can't see it, it's already happening. And the whole concept that like all the potential, of like your greatest, highest vision that you have for your life, for your business, for your relationship, all of those possibilities and all of that potential is already residing inside of you and is almost just like beating the drum like, okay, just I'm ready, let me out, like the time is now to allow that energy to flow and to be expressed. There is no better time than the present moment that you are in, because quite frankly, if you are feeling a feeling, if you are feeling a pull, you have that intuitive like knowingness, if you are feeling that, then the time is now. The reason you're feeling it is because it's ready to emerge. You're not feeling it so you can then go calendar it and like let it become something 2 years from now. No, you're feeling it now because you are ready now to experience it. It has come into your consciousness and is ready to be part of your actual physical experience. So let it. And I know I'm making this sound easier said than done. It takes practice. And I am now at almost 4 years of my own like journey of self growth. And I'm still learning these things every single day. I'm still being reminded of these things and how vital it is to really trust myself and to really lean into the fact that there are so many incredible tools, resources, strategies, all of these things that are available to us now more than ever, right? But understanding that our home base will always be us. It will always be the thing that resides inside of you already that is just dying to be expressed. And so that highest vision, like the conditions will never be right? The conditions, the perfect circumstance will almost never happen. And let's be honest, when that perfect, quote unquote, perfect circumstance seems to be unfolding itself, how many times do you think you actually consciously decide, yeah, but I think I'm maybe just not ready for that yet? It's unfolding in front of you right now. I mean, it is literally like slapping you across the face and saying, hey, I'm ready to be experienced in your physical world. Please allow me to emerge. And we still squash it. We still tell it to be quiet, silence the intuition, silence that energetic burst, and we don't allow it to become the oak tree. Stop staying the acorn. It's not what you're meant to be, And so there was a quote in the book that it really kind of hit a little bit, because sometimes when you're thinking about starting something new, doing, stepping into those moments of like, it's uneasy because you're not familiar with it, right? And so the quote was, whatever you're waiting for, right? You're waiting for that perfect moment, the perfect time of day, the perfect day of the week, the perfect month out of the year, the perfect circumstance, whatever you're waiting for, you're actually waiting with. And all it's doing is weighing you down. You literally, when you feel like you're trudging through the mud, the thing to do that will help you move faster is taking action. Action creates belief. Action creates confidence. Action creates transformation. And it's okay if it's fucking messy and not what you intended to do. It's okay. You really don't have to apologize for those things, because in a world of where people are really embracing transformation and daily growth and evolution of themselves and their businesses, those people will never judge you. So if you're feeling judged, if you're feeling, and first you kind of have to look in the mirror. Is it you that's judging yourself, right? Or are people actually judging you, and maybe they're just not your people, and you need to kind of weed through your audience to eliminate the ones that are just low vibe energies, right? But sometimes, more times than not, it's us. We're the ones who are stalling our own growth, telling these lies to ourselves, and projecting these feelings of inadequacy and a lack of self-worth. We project them out into the world and then tell ourselves, have this assumption that, oh, it's coming from everybody else. Everything that you experience comes from you. You are a mirror. If you stand in the mirror and you raise your right hand, the mirror will only reflect you raising your right hand. It will not show you doing anything else. Your world is exactly the same way. Whatever you reflect into it, you will get back as a direct reflection of your actions, your experience, your consciousness, all of it. Like, it's really, really wild. And the more you become aware of that actual fact, like, it really has nothing to do with religion. It's more about like just universal laws of like gravity and laws of attraction and all of these different universal laws that we have, these principles, right? They're observations of fact that we just know this happens. So why not embrace it, right? Why not allow that feeling of expansion? Instead of shying away from it, lean into it, step into it, activate it, express it, live it. Because if you're not doing any of those things, your experiences are not going to shift to match the highest vision that you have for yourself or your business or your relationships. You have to allow that expansion to happen. And even if it means it cracks you wide open, even if you crack wide open and you're like, oh my God, I don't even know who I am, what I'm doing. This is a whole new version of me I've never experienced. This is a whole new version of my business that I've never experienced. Give yourself permission to explore it. Because if you don't, that expression, that energy, it's going to become stale and stagnant. And that's when it turns to resentment. That's when it turns to, gosh, even depression, right? Like you think about the what ifs. Oh, I should have done this when I had the chance. I am not living a life where I will be saying that anymore. There is no more, I should have done this when I had the chance. Like, as I sit here recording this, I'm about to go to an event that is a little bit scary for me. It's a brand new adventure. I'm going to be on the board of a local networking community that has incredible members inside of it. This is person to person. This can be scary. I am a little bit of an introvert. Unless you put me around the right kind of sort of energetic matches, I can be very introverted. Now, if I'm with the right kind of energetic match, oh my gosh, I am like a little ball of fire and I can be super extroverted. So I'm a little scared about going into this networking situation when it's person to person. I've only been building my business online thus far, but I don't want my business just to live online. I want it to live in the real world. I want to be able to talk to people and, of course, have a place for them to go online, my socials, my website, all the things. But I want to be able to speak to people and to have that connection and to feel their energy. And so this is a new adventure for me. And I 100%, especially being on the board of this organization, that's going to be new responsibilities. That's going to be new experiences. That's going to be new kinds of conversations. And I'm really excited to do it, but I'm also pretty nervous, and I'm okay with that. Nervous is okay. Nervous is good energy that can be converted into potential. And so lean in, right? Let's wrap up this episode with, I'm going to share like this experience I had recently. And I read this in the book as I was actually reading this morning, and the chapter I was on was about gratitude. And he was talking about how, you'll get to a point in your life where you have gratitude for absolutely no reason. And I normally would not relate to this, but I actually had an experience just about 2 weeks ago, I want to say. I was at the Korean spa that's local to us in town. I went into the cold pool, which is like really cold, and I'll usually do like a hot steam, cold dip, kind of situation. It's really great for the nervous system and it's really detoxifying, but damn, that water's cold, right? You have to kind of talk yourself into it, like 1, 2, 3, 4, go. But I was sitting in that cold pool, and rather than feeling cold or thinking about how much longer do I need to be in here, because I've given myself these parameters of how long I need to do this work. Instead, I just relaxed into the moment. My body actually got really warm, and I felt this like explosion of gratitude in my heart for no reason. I wasn't having a conversation with anybody. There was nothing in particular that had just happened. And I think whenever we can get to these moments where we just have this like bubbled up, just overflow of grateful energy, and not even knowing where it came from and not even really caring where it comes from. It's just coming from within, right? Because I've started to live as like grateful is just second nature at this point. Rather than having to constantly seek things to be grateful for, it just becomes part of my everyday subconscious, like who I am. And that takes work. And it really, really means like when you start to feel it, whatever it is, right? When you start to feel it, that means it's ready to emerge. So allow it, embrace it, become the biggest, most beautiful oak tree, because that's your destiny, right? So I hope you guys enjoyed today's episode. As always, book your free brand consults. I offer those, all the time. I love to dig in and uncover bits and pieces of your business, like making your marketing efforts run more seamlessly and working with you to eliminate some unnecessary overhead while creating a really beautiful customer experience. Like, it's my love language. So book your free call, and I will see you guys next week with a brand new episode. Bye. Thank you so much for listening to Branded, the podcast. Please rate and review. And for more information, visit socialjanemedia.com. I'll see you soon.